And we have seen these two face off in the past. Most recently, we saw them face off in IEM Katowice, the qualifiers for IEM, and it was a best of 5 qualifying match. DRG was leading the series 2-1, and the series slipped through his fingers. ByuN pulled off an insane comeback, and he qualified over DRG in those qualifiers. That was a brutal moment for our Zerg player. We'll see if he can get his revenge. As spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, currently teamless, deserving to be on the team. It is DRG. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Of course, recently coming back from IEM. Now he's safely back at home. And the rematch is here again. If it wasn't for ByuN, DRG would have been at IEM instead. It would have been a big moment for him, a really necessary moment as well. We spoke about it at the time, but because DRG is teamless, an event like IEM would have been huge for him to get eyes on him and to look for a sponsor, look for a team, look for some support. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it. Despite having a really good series, like he really popped off against ByuN back in the end of December. But just was not able to make it. And now we have ByuN going for a very similar opener that we saw previously. We just saw this same build out of Oliveira. It is the special opener. It's a Rax expander into a factory on the low ground. We spoke about how this has been adopted by some of the Koreans every now and then. They do sprinkle it in, and the best map for this build is Side Delta. Side Delta is where you want to be, just because of how defendable it is, just because of the ramp advantage, the defender's advantage, how narrow it is, the high ground. It all does allow you to be a little bit greedier in a sense. This should be leading into an add-on swap into Hellions. This can lead into Cyclones, which is how Cure typically plays this out. Not so sure if ByuN will really embrace that though. That I'm not so sure about. As we do see ByuN going for those first 2 Marines, he is hunting for some Overlords. Doesn't find one though, as the Overlords are safe here in the center of the map. Third base is being taken. The add-on swap is here. We're going straight for that 1-1-1. Straight for that 1-1-1 opener. Hellions are on the way. Interesting, ByuN is making another Marine. He isn't making a tech lab yet. And to be fair, I don't think there's room for a tech lab because of where the starport is. So, a very different follow-up. Okay. Very different follow-up here. Yeah, we continue Marine production. It will not be a Banshee. It's going to be a Medevac. Very unorthodox. We're going for a Hellion Marine drop. Okay, or a Hellion drop. Oh, sorry, a Marine drop with Hellions. And we see why. Hellbats. We actually brought this up in the first series. We spoke about the potential of Hellbats when we were casting Oliveira. We saw that Oliveira didn't commit to more than 6 Hellions though. Meanwhile, ByuN, he will. He's doubling down, going for the Hellbat push. Oh boy. Oh boy. We've seen Maru be very fond of this build. I think Clem has whipped it out a couple of times. Here we go. ByuN is going for the drop. Does come across the Overlord. Overlord is going to go down, and that is going to hide the Hellions. DRG, he doesn't see, he doesn't know. Not aware of what's going on. How many queens do we have? We have 5, soon to be 7 queens. That's okay. Lings are coming out. There's no safety Bailey Nest. DRG has no idea what is coming his way. And here we go. ByuN is pushing in. We have 10 Lings in production. A good concave of queens. Very good target firing there out of DRG. Does focus down the medevac, does shut down the Hellbats, and DRG will defend. A solid hold there from our Zerg player. Again, a beautiful concave, really good target firing. And he thankfully did not skip out on his queen production. So a good reaction overall, and ByuN is suddenly in a rough position. He had doubled down here to make this push happen. He heavily delayed his third base, by the way. There is still no third TC. The longer this goes on, the worse it is for ByuN. But he's not done. There we go. We're pulling the boys. He is all in. It's all or nothing here for ByuN. The boys have been pulled. DRG is droning. Uh-oh. DRG feels like the aggression has ended, but really it's only begun. Cloak isn't done. Big pick off. Cloak finishing up in 10 seconds. There's nothing for the Cloak. The Banshee was killed. The boys have been revealed. We still have 5 more drones on the way. Again, we're being a little bit too greedy. Far too greedy here. The Lings, they do engage, but they get roasted by the Hellbats. Queens are going down. So far, good kiting here from DRG. And it looks like DRG, he barely has enough. Do we have another transfuse? Barely we don't. There's 4 Hellbats left. Now there's 3. GG gets called. DRG, he will hold. And he will take game number 1. Whew. GG. Oh my god. Again, DRG, he's looked good against ByuN before. Kind of look good here, though. That was a wild build out of ByuN. We've seen a lot of aggressive builds from both ByuN and Maru on site Delta. If you remember, infamously, Maru went for non-stop all-ins against Scarlet last season of GSL. Part of that was on site Delta, where Maru did go for a 2-base all-in. Then, we see ByuN doing it here against DRG, but a beautiful defense. Again, but a bit of a blunder from ByuN losing that Banshee before Cloak finished. That Banshee could have added so much more DPS there with that Cloak. That could have been what breaks a base, to be honest. Like, that was a very close defense. Add like non-stop DPS from a Banshee, and suddenly, maybe you have a game for the Terran. Regardless, GG. DRG does take a lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Let us go. As we are looking to see if ByuN can tie this up and force the ace match. Again, he was able to bring himself back the last time they faced off, but technically, in those qualifiers, if it was a best of 3, DRG would have taken it. He would have taken the best of 3 then and there. But here we go, the pressure is on, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing himself, currently teamless, deserving to be on a team. It is DRG. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion, looking to tie up this series, looking to force the ace match. It is ByuN. Again, a wild 2-base all-in out of ByuN. Not the first time we've seen ByuN be hyper-aggressive. He's done it before. But now we are going for something a little bit different. Something hyper-greedy, because there is no racks. What do we have instead? A CC first. CC first out of ByuN. Very greedy, very economic, and this is something that we see a lot of specifically on this map. We are loading into Alkione, of course, one of the largest maps in the map pool. Very long rush distance, a lot of bases, very macro-oriented. So this is one of the maps where you can get away with this. We've seen a lot of CC first from Terrans against Zergs. I'm brought back to Spirit last night, but to be fair, Spirit goes CC first every game, whenever he can. He's an animal. He's an animal like that. Meanwhile, this is interesting. So it's going to be a CC first into not just a 2 racks. I'm imagining a 3rd racks behind this as well. We could even go up to 4 raxes. Show us what you got. Show us how many racks is ByuN as the first 2 are finishing up. Now going to be finishing up here. Behind this, it is going to be a hatch gas pool standard open out of DRG. Should be leading into a 3rd base momentarily as well. And ByuN, what do you have? Yep, there it is. There's that third axe that we spoke about. We could even go up to 4 axes. If it is going to be a 4 axe, then we may just go for an all-in. So my eyes are definitely on. There we go. It is going to be a 4 axe follow-up. Oh my god, ByuN. I haven't seen ByuN 4 axe in, what, a couple of months since the last patch. Like, October of last year. Like 4 months ago. So it's been a while. It's been a hot minute since we've seen a solid 4 axe out of ByuN. At least from my memory. Maybe I have casted him to it recently. It's been a while though. Been a while. So the way this works is that we are building up a hefty bio army. Now this technically isn't an all-in. You can transition out of this, but very committed. Very committed here. We're building up a massive bio army. We're going to be hitting a timing with stim. We're going to be hitting a very strong stim timing, and every stim counts. As you can imagine, we are going to be pushing without medevacs. No medevacs here for ByuN, which means every stim is going to be killing us. We cannot waste them. We have to preserve them. We have to use them wisely. I believe we should have like 2 stims available. 2 stims for ByuN's army, and then we're tapped out. Now, because we're committing so hard, because the 3rd CC is so late, this has to do damage. This has to get into a mineral line, maybe kill a base, maybe reset the queen count. We need to trade well here. If we don't, it's over. If we don't, then we will fall behind. And here we go. We are going to be getting ready for the move outs. Combat Shield's going to be on the way behind this as well. So we do have those 2 upgrades with this force. Just massing up the Marines. Link Scout does confirm the Marines, but really with the amount of Marines that we've seen, it could just be a 2-on-1. Like, for all DRG knows, it could be a 2-on-1, which should be moving out soon. Likewise, so should this. Still only see Marines. The Overlord hasn't seen much either. Lings are amassing. Queens are on the way. Bailey Nest. Safety Bailey Nest here from DRG. Oh, but here we go. It's the all-in version. We're pulling the boys. It's all or nothing. ByuN. It all ends here. Either he wins the game and we force an ace match, or he gets knocked out. It all comes down to this one attack, this one push. And Bailings are too late. This Bailey Nest is far too late. The boys are being pulled, and we're pulling away. We're giving up the 3rd. Wise choice. Wise choice here from DRG. The Leagues, they catch reinforcements. They catch out a good chunk of Marines. Big moment here for DRG. Half the Marines will be going down. The other half pushes in. I should say a 1/3 of the Marines go down. We focus on a queen. And we're going for a 2nd queen as well. Hatchery soaking some shots. Oh, the boys being dragged into the army. Oh my god, 7 drones go down. And here we go, we get us around. Links from behind, drones from the center. Good stutter stepping here from the queens. And we're losing drones, but it doesn't matter because we've cleaned up every single SCV. A very methodical play here out of DRG. He took it slow, took it steady, and he will clean everything up. ByuN doesn't have enough. The Marines go down, 18 SCVs as well, and DRG will hold. He responds with a Spire. He's crazy. We do have a Spire follow-up. DRG has held. He's up. He's got almost double the worker count, double the economy. And ByuN has got 5 SCVs, now 6 SCVs here at the natural. As we mentioned, this had to do damage without pulling the boys. With pulling the boys, that had to end the game. That had to end the game, and it didn't. And now ByuN, he's in a terrible position. Now we have double E-base for 1-1. Factory production into starports, into medevacs. The Spire play is really risky. So risky here at a DRG, but you know, high risk, high reward. ByuN isn't going to be moving out. So, oh, my apologies. He pulled the boys again. He's pulling the boys a 2nd time. Before 1-1. 1-1 just started. He's crazy. The boys. The Homono, is that you? I do know that ByuN has been watching Homono. I know that Homono, he told me that ByuN was copying some of his builds. The boys have been pulled. We collapse here on the queens. Clutch transfuse. Oh my god, the queens, they survive. Two of them finally go down. We get a third. We get a fourth queen. Oh, we're snowballing out of control. Where are the lings? The boys have to be pulled once again. Worker on worker action. The lings, they come in as well. That it looks like DRG will once again clean this up. Spine crawler repositioning. And DRG holds for a second time, still maintaining his economic lead. ByuN still far behind in the workers. The question becomes, do we pull the boys a third time? Do we pull the boys a third time, Papi? Oh, I think we do. But mutas are on the way. Now, I'm torn by the mutas. I'm very torn because Marines shoot up, and there's a lot of Marines. But if we can cripple the economy, if we can, looks like the Spire was scouted with the push. ByuN is getting ready. Turrets are on the way. One in the main, one in the natural. These mutas are going to have a hard time finding damage. They can maybe find the medevacs. Maybe. But you have to be very careful. These are expensive units here for DRG. You cannot throw them away. So we catch the Marines. Marines going to be going down. We pull the boys a third time. Oh my god, ByuN, you need to stop watching Hon Mono. Stop it. But here we go. The boys have been pulled for a third time. ByuN reinforcing with Cyclones, with Medevacs, Marines. Here we go. No Banelings whatsoever here. It looks like the Baneling nest was cancelled. Was it killed? No, it was killed. My apologies. Only Ling, Queen, and Muta. We collapse on the army. Muta's going ham. They're being targeted down. That's a lot of Marines. That's a lot of Marines. The Mutas are struggling. But it looks like, do we have enough on the ground? DRG barely forces back the army. Kills 7 workers. We'll pull back. Soon, ByuN is going to be picking up his main and landing it here at his third. Or he could even take the gold. The boys, they come back home. The boys, they do come back home here to continue mining. ByuN moving out once again, this time with that Cyclone. Again, we do have mass muta to defend. 13 mutas and 41 lings. ByuN stutter stepping forward, takes control of the third base. We collapse on this position. Yeah, the muta's going ham. The lings as well. And that's all she wrote. That's all we have left. GG gets called. DRG. Dongregu does it. He takes the series 2-0. He gets his revenge. He gets his revenge for the IEM Katowice qualifiers, and he takes down ByuN. Eliminates him from the tournament. GG. GG, well played. DRG, he survives. A hyper-aggressive style here out of ByuN. That build, by the way, in game 2, 100%. That's a home mono build. Home mono, he messaged me a week ago. I want to say a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago, before IEM. And he told me that ByuN was starting to use some of his builds. For those who don't know, home mono, he's another Korean Terran. He's a Korean Terran player, and he's hyper aggressive. And ByuN has been playing around with some of his all-ins, clearly. And game 2, that is a home mono build that he does whip out from time to time. So ByuN having a bit of fun, trying to refine himself, trying to broaden his horizons, but alas, he is gonna be punished. And DRG does advance on to the grand finals. Let's go. Let us go. It is going to be something that I was not expecting, a ZvZ. A ZvZ finals between Dark and DRG.